Get Valiant.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Get Valiant, number 180.
Hi, the big 180.
Absolutely. The big 180.
That's right. And we got ourselves a special guest here today, guys. If you can't see the man, he's in your top right corner on your screens. Josh from A Sound of Thunder.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Anytime.
Welcome.
Our pleasure.
Long time
Very
listener,
happy
first time
to have
guest.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's like Dear Abby, long-time listener, first-time caller. So yeah, I dig it. I dig it. Awesome. And so today we're going to be talking a little Rye number 10, the closeout of Rye, maybe. Pretty awesome. And yeah, dude, happy to have you on, Josh. Eric, good to see you. Joshua, good to see you. How's everybody?
Sweet.
You had a really cool something come in
Just
today,
hanging out.
this week, Joshua. What was that?
Yeah, so, you know, one of the nice things about having Josh from Sound of Thunder on is that I also received my Kickstarter package from A Sound of Thunder for last year's Kickstarter that they ran. And I had totally forgotten about what it was that I actually had signed up for. And lo and behold, a giant box showed up at my house. And a really nice box, too. Like, you guys had all your graphics printed on it. It was pretty top-notch packaging. But I wanted to show off a couple of the things on here because one of the nice things about it was I needed all their variants. And they had a package that had all the variants that they had done. So, for instance, I don't know how well these will show up, but the old Killers Iron Maiden cover homage for Punk Mambo.
Dig it.
Very nice.
That's such a great cover.
And
That was Margaret Thatcher originally. And
it's the single, huh?
yeah, it's from Sanctuary. So the monster under Punk Mambo in the original is Margaret Thatcher.
I have the single up in a closet somewhere. It's been a long time since I've had it out though. Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, and all these books were signed by the band, which is awesome. The Book of Death variant.
Also love that
And
cover
then,
a ton.
Another Iron Maiden one.
Nice.
I love the old trade dress, personally.
So
I'm a
great.
fan of it.
Agreed.
That was a sticking point. Or not a sticking point. I mean, they agreed to it, but that was part of the deal. Like, I didn't want to do it unless we could get the classic trade dress.
I like that you did both.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of cool because I know when Bloodshot launched again, there was a couple variants that had the old trade dress for that one too, with the Jay Lee art.
Now, the question is, since we're on the cover of the new Rye variant, does that mean that A Sound of Thunder is canon in the Valiant universe? And
As far
if
as I'm
so,
concerned,
I assume this is like your first cover appearance, you know, so speculators should be eating that up.
and if so, does that mean Valiant Entertainment now owns the rights to our likenesses?
Oh,
Well, I don't know.
what was the contract? What did that look like?
No contract.
Was it signed?
Pretty sure they own me now.
signed in blood.
That's it.
It was just what blank piece of paper signed in blood.
Yeah.
Well, I have to
There's a lot of
actually
cool stuff
thank
in here, though.
Robert Myers was the one that okayed the last one. He was like, let's do it. Go for it. That was the contract. It was go for it.
Oh, I love Robert. That's great.
The best.
So, you know,
Great guy.
being like a Valiant collector, like this was like a really awesome thing to put my money on, you know, because there's so much stuff here with a Valiant theme. I mean, we know you. You're part of the community. I mean, I've just been trying to support you, and I'm glad I got to do it on this one. But like, seriously, so much cool stuff with this package. I mean, you guys do the Dr. Mirage CD for Second Lives. Really nice art on there. A CD of Rye. But the coolest thing, as I was telling this to Josh earlier, is the Flexi for Rye with the song that Dan Abnett wrote for you guys.
Yep.
So how did that come about? Like, did you guys just approach Dan and he was just totally cool about it?
Well, yeah, we had to go through Valiant because I didn't have Dan's contact info, and so Lisa Hawkins set that up for us, and the editor on the book. And the cool thing about it was that, first of all, I've been reading Dan Abnett's stuff for a long time, so to me, he was like somebody I might not even be able to get in touch with or have a conversation with. But we figured we'd ask him, and I asked him. I didn't want to put work on him, and also we weren't going to pay him. But I didn't want to ask him to do a bunch of work for free. But I was like, hey, we're doing this song, and would you like to contribute a couple lines, just to help him, at least offer to let him be a part of it. And I thought maybe he'd give us a couple lines that we could work in, because our singer Nina had lyrics already. And just the first response from Dan was a full set of lyrics for the whole song. So he was totally into it, and we've gone back and forth a bunch since then. And he's super nice, very musical. I found out right away he's a big Rush fan, and so he appreciated that the song was kind of proggy. I should probably thank our drummer for insisting that we throw the proggy drum and bass breakdown into the middle of the song. Maybe that's what caught Dan's ear. But yeah, he was just totally into it right off the bat and sent us way more than we asked for, and we ended up using pretty much everything. There were a couple places where Nina really likes to rhyme, and Dan hadn't rhymed stuff, so we just changed a couple little things around to make it rhyme. That was all we changed. Was the lyrics are 99% Dan.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Well, and then also on the chat, everybody, you had a chance to win some of those items that Josh just showed from A Sound of Thunder. Thank you to Josh. Make sure you comment down below. We got your names. We're going to pull them out. And one person's going to win some Rye variants and Rye CD. And it's going to be pretty darn cool. So make sure you're putting that in. And Josh, I wanted to ask, how you got into Valiant? Correlating your band and your comic love. How did that come about for you?
Well, I'm 41 now. So when I was in my original comic reading period, it was around 92 to 95, and I was mostly a Marvel reader. I just missed the Shooter era, although honestly I was so young that the quality of those comics would have been lost on me anyway at the time. And I was a typical kid of the era reading Wizard. And so I think Wizard is what pushed me into trying out Valiant. And I had a bunch. I went through my childhood collection recently, and I had a bunch of Valiants in there. But the one that I remember that really stuck with me was Shadow Man. I never forgot the Blood Runners story. Mm-hmm. It just really struck me especially compared to the Marvel stuff I was reading. It was just kind of gnarly and violent and bloody, and there was something about the coloring that I really loved. That watercolor look really stuck out in my mind. And then the fact that Jack was a musician and hung out in jazz clubs, I thought was so cool. So I kind of credit the Shadow Man comics with piquing my interest in becoming a musician. But there was already a connection in my mind. The reason I started listening to metal in the first place is because I was so positive that the song Iron Man just had to be about Iron Man. So I was trying to make it work in my brain. I was like, Tony Stark's not really from the future, but his boots aren't made out of lead. But there's got to be a connection.
I dig that. I dig that. And then some of our followers, Scott Bloom's here. He's asking some questions about what is Parallel Eternity about. Sounds like he's following you on Bandcamp.
Thank you, Scott. Parallel Eternity is a line from our song Time's Arrow, and we use it as the title for our 10th anniversary collection. Because the 10th anniversary collection is it's one new 13-minute song, super long song, and then it's a collection of at least one song from all of our other releases to celebrate our 10th anniversary. But they're different versions. They're all orchestral, so it's the band plus a full orchestration. So it's kind of like alternate versions from an alternate timeline or a parallel eternity, if you will.
So did you guys re-record all the instruments, or did you take the original recordings and add orchestration?
We re-recorded some of them because we've done most of everything with the same producer, and we had all the multi-tracks. But
Nice.
the early stuff we had done differently, way differently. So we completely re-recorded the early ones to make everything consistent. And then we went back, and most of the guitar solos are new. I just completely redid them, different phrasing and completely different solos. And then we have a lot of vocal harmonies, so that in the mix allows you to move things around, where like sometimes the harmony that's mixed off to the side or mixed off low, you can bring it in and make it the new lead, and it sounds different. So they're even though they're original tracks in most cases, they're very different versions.
So I guess the thing that really stood out to me is you did different guitar solos. Like, is that just from a matter of like playing the songs over time, or did you sit down and just rewrite all new?
No, it was mostly just from a desire to make it more different, so it'd be better for fans. But also, I don't usually play them the same way live. You know, I like to. I don't know if you guys know Blue Oyster Cult, but that guy's the guitarist from Blue Oyster Cult is one of my favorite guitarists. His name's Buck Dharma, and he says has a quote. I can't remember it exactly, but it's basically like, you don't take the same road to work every morning. You want to take a different route to work. Eventually, you get where you're going. You get to the same place, and you get there on time. But it's more interesting to take a different route. So for me, it's more fun to play them differently and improvise when we do them live. And based off of that, I just kind of went in and ripped new solos for the old songs.
That's impressive to me. As somebody who played music for a really long time, like, I know how difficult it can be to do exactly what you're talking about, like take a different road to work. And being able to sit down and take stuff that you've probably heard a billion times and, you know, re-record something new over it, that's awesome. And like you said, for the fans, it's great because they get something new off of this new recording.
Thank you. And hopefully some of them are better, because I did some of them a long time ago. So theoretically, I should be better now.
Fair enough.
All right. And so where did it come about to really get in to do the Kickstarters? I know, was it the Tales of the Dead side? Was that the first one, or? Yeah,
that was the first one. I've always gone to Comic Cons when I can, and our singer Nina is a comics fan as well. And I've been following Valiant since 2012 when they started back up again. I've had everything they put out in my pull list nonstop since 2012. And the band was going pretty good by 2013. So Nina and I were at Baltimore Comic Con, and we literally just like off the top of our heads kind of were like, hey, let's go talk to Valiant. And we had some CDs with us. I think it was Adam. We gave Adam the CDs, and we were just like, hey, we'd like to do something with you guys. Thinking they would probably say no, because we didn't really have any achievements under our belt yet at that time. But I think they were young and looking to, you know, get their name out there as much as possible. And credit to them for being really open to it. But like, they emailed us back the next week and we're like, yeah, let's do something. What do you guys want to do? And then it went back to Shadow Man. Like I told you, like I grew up on Shadow Man. That was my favorite and most memorable connection with old Valiant. It made sense to us that musically we could do something like that. I think about the Dead side and New Orleans blues jazz connection. So it made me think of something Sabbathy, you know, real dark. Yeah, and it just kind of came together naturally and very quickly from there.
It seems like a good pairing.
Yeah.
I wanted it to ooze New Orleans, you know, which is tough because I'm not from there, and maybe it doesn't fully ooze New Orleans, but we did our best to kind of make it jazzy and bluesy and dark and heavy.
Awesome. Well, and then looking at Valiant lately, what have you been enjoying lately? What have you been looking forward? And which one of these new books that's coming next year you most excited for?
Well, Shadow Man is coming back, so obviously I'm super excited about that. I am a big Valiant booster. I think I fall in Eric's camp where I'm like, I don't think I'm a shill. I think I legitimately am enjoying all of this stuff. Maybe we're just positive people. But like, for instance, I really dug Forgotten Queen. I know maybe I'm alone on that, but I really dug that one. Love the art and the story.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I've liked a lot of the new stuff. I think there was a disruption there, and maybe multiple disruptions between a couple of head editors and a global pandemic. And as I was telling you guys before we went live here, I think Rye is up there with their strongest ongoings they've ever had. To me, maybe we'll dig into it more in the discussion on the issue, but there's just like really cool themes they're exploring, or that Dan's exploring in that book. And it's much more than a superhero book. There's just a lot of great sci-fi and just human nature being explored. So love Rye. I'm enjoying everything to some degree, but Rye is really more like my flavor.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of how we are too, where we wouldn't do this if we didn't enjoy it, if we didn't enjoy the product every month. If we were just like, all these books suck, we hate everything, we hate the direction, we'll see you next week. It's just not really where we're at.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that you like a lot of things, right? I mean, and it's always, I've always said if you like it or don't like it, you're still right. It's your opinion. And I feel like so many people want to be right. And yeah, you're always right, but doesn't mean that somebody else is not right because of their opinion. And so, but majority of it has been good. There's some things that, we've talked about on the show. But I enjoy that people are digging it. That makes me happy. Even if I'm not digging it, I enjoy somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I think they're clearly trying some different things.
Yeah.
Which I know irks some people, but my thing is like, nobody can ever take the old comics away from you. You can always go back and reread them. Mm-hmm. I don't mind that they're trying new stuff. It's not, if every single thing was my favorite thing ever, that would be pretty weird. Like either they'd be way too focused and I just happen to be in that target audience, or they'd be magical.
Yeah. I would love to be that person that everything's your favorite thing though, because that would just be awesome to have that like elation every time. Like that would be kind of fun. So
yeah, I don't know if Dinesh ever said this publicly, but you guys might appreciate this. Nina and I went to the licensing expo in Las Vegas and met up with the Valiant guys out there in like 2014, 2015. But I was at the bar with Dinesh just complimenting him on the books. And he just said to me, you know what, man, all we're trying to do is hit singles. It's not about trying to hit a home run every time. We're just trying to hit singles. And I think that the new regime at Valiant has been hitting singles, or better sometimes, but I think they're doing just fine.
Yeah,
that's a great analogy to it of what you want. I mean, if you can be consistent and get up there and have a good batting average, eventually you knock one out of the park when you connect just right. But if that's not necessarily what you're doing, I mean, if you really ever played baseball, you understand that. And I think that's a great analogy. So thank you for sharing that one. I like that. So, and then another question, going back to the band and the comics, are they also Valiant fans, or have they been from you? How does that work, getting the rest of the band to get behind you on Valiant?
Well, Nina was into it because she's a comics fan. Because even though she wasn't really familiar with Valiant before we started. But then what happened is once we started the project, every single person at Valiant has been so cool to us that it was super easy. We went to New York. Russ came to one of our shows and bought us knishes at like a 150-year-old restaurant in New York. Russ is the head of the licensing. They've just all been very helpful, very kind, patient, because they put up with us. Getting the Kickstarter for the first one done was interesting because I think they were a little hesitant that a Kickstarter might look bad, but eventually they let us do it and it worked out great, and there's never been a problem on the subsequent ones. Yeah, I mean, I get to I write most of the music, so I have a good amount of say. If I'm like, okay, I can come up with, you know, ideas for 10 songs about Shadow Man, and then everybody else pitches in ideas too. But usually, I come up with the main building blocks. So it wasn't hard to get them to go along with it. You know, we all legitimately thought it was a good idea. Although I still, in the back of my mind, think like commercially, we might have wasted an opportunity to do a bunch of melodic commercial songs. Like we're going to reach the Valiant fans. It's a first time exposing ourselves to new people. We should probably do a bunch of like short, simple songs, right? But Shadow Man did not demand short, simple songs. Shadow Man needed to be dense and off-putting at points.
An epic.
Yeah, well, that was the goal. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, there was a book that came out this week too. There was a book written by the fantastic Dan Abnett, drawn by Juan Jose Rip, and the colors by the Doug Braithwaite, who's been killing it. So amazing creative team. They've been on all of it for this Rye, which I love that we're getting 10 books from that same creative team set together. Yeah, beautiful piece to it. So
this book has been
that's a spoiler alert, Eric.
oh man,
still doing that to you?
Slow down.
I didn't even see it coming, and that's the worst part about it. Like I should have seen it coming.
Wait, hold on. Who's in charge of the spoiler alert button?
No idea.
Well, it's clearly not me.
I can't point.
I
don't know where my fingers are going.
Is it John?
John.
Okay. Can somebody spoiler alert John? Because I think the colorist is Andrew Dahlhouse, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
what did I say?
You said Doug Braithwaite.
Yeah,
Oh, wow,
you said
I
Doug
totally-
Braithwaite. I was like, what are you talking about?
I was like, wow.
That's on me. My bad.
There you
It
go.
is the fantastic Andrew Dahlhouse who's been on it from the beginning. He's been coloring a bunch of stuff like Bloodshot. Andrew Dahlhouse. Yes, Andrew Dahlhouse.
Yeah, he colored our Rye variant too.
Oh,
That's so awesome. He's a great colorist. And I think that this book just looks so good. The interiors are
Totally agree. And Andrew's unique because he uses like a ton of whites in his colors, which I don't always dig on superhero stuff, but his stuff is so bright and it has just a certain feel to it because of all the whites that he made. It's like he created his own world for 4002. I really enjoyed his colors on the whole series.
I really noticed a big difference between the colors with the different scenes. Like when we were with Spylock, we had a different palette. And I think that it helped to kind of separate what was going on with, Rye and Raijin versus what was going on with Bloodfather and Spylock and the Kortunga or whatever their name is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's awesome. So anybody else, when you're reading him, what's his name? Put it down there. Ortaka. Do you find yourself saying a bunch of different curse words where there's all the different asterisks and everything else there?
That's
Just
absolutely what it is.
Okay, yeah. I think I read it and I'm like, okay, which one sounds best? What do I want? What son of a bitch do I want to put here? Or mother? I love it.
Can we start lobbying for the Ortaka miniseries yet? Because I'm down.
I'm on board.
I'm 100% on board.
Ooh,
Sign
a
me up.
Sound of Thunder Ortaka CD album. That would be great.
Oh, I would
If you guys-
totally do
I
at least
bet
a
you guys
single.
pitch it very
Yeah.
well. They'll do it.
Ever since he put that tusk through that guy's face in issue 1,
That was one of the best scenes. We dig that. We dug that scene for sure.
yeah.
He's a great
Yes.
character, and I like. This is such a great book. Like, while I was reading it, that fight scene at the beginning was just so intense. But it lasted so long. I was honestly thinking, like, this is using up so many pages. How in the world is this book going to do anything else? Like, how are we going to get anything else out of this issue? And then it all happened. Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be the longest that they've devoted a fight scene to, and the most pages they devoted to a single fight scene in the whole run, right?
Right.
The only thing that I can think of that compares to that, as far as like allowing that much breathing room, is when they did that Ninja X Silent issue. You know, because then the art had all that breathing room, and it was just like art telling a story. But this wasn't even a silent issue story like that. This was just that one fight scene, that sword fight between oh my god, why am I blanking on his name?
Fusion.
Yes, Fusion and Rai. That was just so. That was epic. But then, yeah, everything else happened in this issue. I
love that kick. Awesome. And then panel 2 in the top right. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the blood explosion. Yeah, absolutely. But it honestly, the moment when they cut off the connection with Bloodfather, obviously we're going into spoilers, as I was spoiler alerted earlier. When they cut off the connection with Bloodfather and Spylock was saying that, you know, Ray is just gone, I audibly was like, oh, because I'm such a huge Bloodshot nerd that, like, I didn't want to deal with that. And then at the end, he comes back in that in Alice's body, and I was like, fuck yeah. So I don't know.
I thought they were setting up another quest for like the next volume where, you know, they'd have to go find the pieces of Bloodshot now.
Yeah, I thought it would be like he could show up maybe later kind of thing. I did not expect him to pop right back up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my thought with that. Go for it, Josh. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick, I thought this issue just had so many moments where there were like so many like oh shit moments, I guess is really how I'd put it. Whereas like there would be something that would happen and I'd just be like, wow, that's really amazing. Holy shit, you know, like, that's cool. And then something else would kind of happen. And I don't really feel like that a lot with Valiant's books. Like I usually feel like the payoff happens once. It's good and then you just move on from there. But there was just a lot of things going on. I don't want to talk about the end just yet, but definitely Alice becoming Bloodshot, everything going on with Rai and Fusion. It was just really cool. I mean, it was just really. I feel like a veteran writer does that, where they know how to move the pieces around properly, give everything its own space. I don't know, like if I've read anything from Valiant where it has this kind of approach to it.
I really appreciated that Dan made me care about Alice, you know, previously in issues 8 and 9. Like I immediately, when she came back and when the Dark was coming after them, like after she was humanized, I immediately cared about Alice and thought that was a cool character. So I'm glad she's not dead.
Yeah, I dig that she's not dead. And then that Alice becomes Bloodshot. So my question is, does that mean the nanites are with her now? Like, where are those at? Or is it just the consciousness of Ray Garrison in her? So I guess there's plenty of questions to be asked for something if something were to continue.
So my understanding of what's going on, and I hope that this is correct, is that she had a form of Bloodfather's nanites in her, and Ray's consciousness has taken over the collective of those nanites. And because they're so advanced and self-replicating, I think that Ray's consciousness is going to be able to fill up her body and make her into this new Bloodshot. And that is so exciting to me. Like, I
know what's going to happen is she's got a little bit of nanites and she's just going to go around collecting more, just like Bloodshot Reborn. You know, that's just what's going to be. She's going to get a job at a motel, do some heroin. That's going to be awesome.
Do they still have heroin in 4002, though?
I hope.
We'll find out.
I really hope they do.
It's just better.
I mean, I feel like
it's not living if they don't.
Yeah. But I like that it sets up yet another juxtaposition of humanity versus robot or positron or nanite or whatever. You know, you had Ray inside of Bloodfather. Now you've got Ray or Bloodshot inside of Alice Klein. You know, it just kind of mirrors like Raijin and Rai and all these other great characters in the series.
No, I totally agree with what you were talking about with like the humanity of this story. I think using these positronic characters to tell a story that has such deep humanity to it, I don't know. That's a huge feat to me. 41st Century
I like
Unity.
the name Blood Alice. That's good.
Blood Alice. I'm down for it. Absolutely.
Yes.
But this is such a human story, and that's part of why I cared so much about Alice, is because she was kind of being made into that outcast just for being organic. And there's so much depth to this story.
There's so much interesting stuff that's been set up. They have to finish it.
Yes, and that says to this whole series is how good it's been to read. You know, just each page has really been very entertaining, and it makes you almost want to go from page to page to page. It's never been necessarily a task to read this book, and that's what I really appreciate this book. I felt like Josh had mentioned earlier the pacing on it. Love the pacing. I think Todd even mentions the pacing. Yep, right there. And it's been a beautiful paced book all the way around. Number 2 is probably, again, we've talked about it, one of our favorite issues that's came out in a while. That was a beautiful issue, and it continued well. And the last page was the great surprise, and that made me excited because March hasn't necessarily been announced on what's coming out in March yet. So.
Yeah, are we giving up the spoiler?
You know, I think
that I'll take the blame for that one. I set it up.
I think that Hoosier actually called this, or somebody did. Maybe somebody in the comment section called this.
I'm not smart enough for that.
I think
somebody did. Somebody did. I don't remember who it was, and if you're in the comment, if it was Scott,
I think it was Scott.
It could have been Scott, or it was Sean Hayes, maybe. But somebody totally called this months ago that the dark was actually the dark. Yeah, it was Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a beautiful call out.
Yeah. And it's great, because that's something that we definitely have missed with, I think, the 4001, 4002 timeline is that supernatural feel. And we haven't had a lot of dark with VEI yet, so I mean, I hope that he's had more adventures. I hope he's had more stuff to like terrorize people with, since like getting turned into a tree or whatever it is he is in the pages of Ninjak.
I want to know what his new motivations are going to be in this, because in the first in Justin Jordan's Shadow Man run, Dark's goal is to destroy all life.
Yeah.
So now the fact that Dark's aligned with the organic creatures versus the robots seems like a big change. But I don't think there's been a definitive run establishing like what Dark's deal is yet. So I'm cool with them changing stuff.
Well, and what's the connection with Bloodshot when he went through the dead side to kill somebody in order to save during Lemire's run? Do you remember when he moved up to 4001, 4002, and he had to come in and kill somebody in order to save his daughter?
You have to refresh my memory on that.
Yeah. That was been a while.
I remember that, but that was a long time ago, man.
I would love the continuity somewhere to match up like that. I mean, that doesn't have to, but it's kind of fun when it does.
I don't think Dark had anything to do with that. That was
it was still dead side.
Sure. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, to me, it makes sense that Dark is going to say, like, I get my power from the organic, like, because it seems like he's disembodied now, and he's drawing power out of unifying organic force, and so it would make sense to me that he's trying to get rid of all the technology that's taking over the world because he wants to still be able to exist and harvest his energy from organics and then further his plot. And if he's able to like re-manifest himself into a physical body to where he doesn't need to do that anymore, he'll probably go straight back to trying to kill everything.
Yeah, I hadn't considered maybe he doesn't have a body. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I feel like if humans create technology, and that might be the way he looks at it. And, if he can get rid of all the technology first, then he can take care of the humans that put it forth. Because that stuff lasts forever, whereas, human life doesn't. So maybe he just sees it as like something that's, a bigger threat than just normal humans.
Also, it was just really nice to see that connection to the wider Valiant universe.
Yeah.
Anytime that happens, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And one of the connections I hope that we get is more Eternal Warrior and more of the new Geomancer in there. I felt like they had a good little spot in this book and in Fallen World, and I hope we get to see more of them down the road too. So
now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Galad gray-haired in Fallen World?
He was, but they kind of connected it that the world was rejuvenating with the Geomancer, causing him to be younger within that. So again, good Dan Abnett writing where you ask that question, you see that, and be like, okay, what the crap? Glad is young again. What's going on? And they did. He actually explained that. I believe it was issue what was that 4?
Yeah,
3 or 4?
Back up in 4.
Yeah, and they do kind of explain that how nope, Geomancer's on Earth now, and it's definitely having him heal himself. So
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I love anytime he shows up. I think that he's such a great character, no matter what time it is, because he's such a timeless character. He's just awesome every time he shows up. And Dan Abnett has written him so well. I definitely want to see more 4002 Eternal Warrior, the Geomancer. I just want more Dan Abnett in the Valiant universe. I think it would be great for him to be able to play in the sandbox, as it were, and pick up more of the toys. And I know that we're getting an expansion of the universe with a lot of new talent, but I think that he's somebody that has a lot left to say.
Yeah, I'm torn between enjoying the fact that they're trying new stuff with a bunch of different writers and different styles and genres, and then the other part of me that's just let Dan Abnett, Jonathan Hickman the entire line.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
At the very least, 4000, the 4000 era. Right?
Give him 4002 and let him be in charge of that world at least. Yeah,
that would be a beautiful plan. I'm sold. Done.
Yeah,
because I love this world. I don't just love the characters. I love the world that they've set up. And all credit to Kent, because Kent set up a lot of cool ideas too. But I love what Dan Abnett's done with them and the new things he's added. And I want to be, even if it's another series focused on a different character, I would love to stay in that world.
That's what I was thinking. If you could take and have him do one other series, or have him do a Galad series set in the future or whatever. He did Fallen World so well, where it felt like he was able to put the context of this entire planet into that book. That there are so many directions he could go. I would be so on board with that. I think that he set up so much stuff that there's no way to get to in one book, So I think that giving him an opportunity to do more like that would be amazing.
I hope so. I hope they keep it going, because as of now he's 15 issues in, and it's really he's building an epic. I hope that he gets to finish it.
Couldn't agree more. So to me, this is such a strong book. The writing is obviously, as we've been gushing over, is extremely solid. The art, I don't know how you would make it better. To me, this is just, I was really worried, like I said at the beginning when we started talking about this, with that huge long fight scene, that this issue was going to feel rushed with anything else happening in it, and that it was going to be truncated. but it came together so well, and it was such a phenomenal reading experience. To me, this is like, I mean, this is an easy 4.5 out of 5, if not 4.75 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think it's a 4.5 easily. I just think that I'm not an intelligent enough reader, where I didn't see everything coming. So Scott's definitely better than me on that one. But I mean, I'm glad, there was just things that they still hit me as like a surprise. So it was great to see the things that happened with Alice. It was great to see Dark kind of show up at the end, like his voice. I just hope with this, I get that they can't keep publishing because sometimes the numbers drop to a point where they can't keep doing it. I just hope the layoff isn't that long. Don't make us wait a year. Let's get Rye back out there. Like in 6 months.
I think he set it up wisely that if the numbers don't bear out to continue as Rye, like maybe they could continue it as Bloodshot 4002 or some kind of big event, maybe even a dark 4002. If Dark's there, is there a Shadow Man?
Yeah.
I kind of expect an event for the next chapter rather than jumping back into Rye 11.
Yeah.
I'm on
Joshua,
board.
what did you score it? Did you give it a score, Joshua?
Me,
Or either one.
I gave it a 4.5.
4.5, 4.5. What about you, Josh? What are you thinking on it?
I am not accustomed to rating comics in this fashion.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah, well, do it now. Man, I don't know. I had the same.
If you give it a low score, I'm just gonna tell you. No.
Yeah, well, I had to read it through the watermark, so it's hard to score the art. Now somebody said there was a little bit of fill-in art in this issue. Is that right?
I think at the back of it had a little bit of fill-in.
I saw like one face though. I was like, that face doesn't look like Reap.
Yeah.
So anytime there's a need for a fill-in, I'll deduct a little bit. But I mean, it's hard because it's a chapter where they give you a bunch of new stuff and then leave you hanging. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been fine with giving it a 4.5. The fight scene was great. I wanted more. I thought coming into this issue thinking that this might be the end of the run, I was like, are they going to try and wrap it up? Like, there's no way they could have without it being incredibly rushed. Yeah. But what I really want out of it long term is like I want a resolution of Rye and Rye Jin, and who's more human, because I love the way they've set that up. Rye says he's got to kill Rye Jin at the end. Rye Jin, even though he's completely synthetic, seems way more human than Rye, who's half human. That's the stuff that I'm really craving to dig into more and come to some kind of conclusion. But we're not going to get it yet, apparently. So I'll be satisfied with a great fight scene and definitely some cool themes with fusion and New being kind of racist against humans. So yeah, I'm totally happy to give it a 4.5.
That's awesome. And I mean, I think, coming at the end of all this, I'm saying everything you guys are saying and agreeing with you. But I'm also going to look at the bigger picture with this story too, from Fallen World all the way to where we're at now. And even if you go back to the Rye and 4001 AD, that whole series, this has been a smooth book. The Tale of Rye since Matt Kent launched Rye, when he did with Clayton Crane. It has been beautiful. It's been great. 4.5 all the way around too with me. I think it was one of the first time that we've all agreed exact same score on something. And it's exciting. I almost want to give it a little bit more just because I was saddened when they kept calling it the finale of it. I thought we were going to get this book ending at 10, and I was hoping and praying and crossing my fingers because I was liking it so much that we'd have more. And so that almost makes me want to just jump up to a 5. But realistically, 4.5 is awesome.
In my in my rereading today, I noticed a line, and it was maybe Rye number 1. It was real early in the run, a line from Lula where she says, "We've only got a few months, maybe a year." And I was wondering if that was Dan, like, inserting a little of his own commentary on the run.
Sure.
I would like it if there was some little hints like that of things like that, but yeah.
No, and I mean, time is finite, you know, and there's only so much time to put into a book. Obviously, he's got a lot of other projects that he works on as well, and you know, unfortunately, even the greatest of things can't last forever. So, you know, we may not be getting another ride book right away, but I do hope it comes back. And if Dan Abnett is involved with it, I'll definitely be stoked.
Yeah, I will be there for it 100%.
And hats off to Lisa Hawkins for putting this book together, putting the creative team together. I think she did a really good job of hearing this pitch and running with it. This kind of, you know, goes back to when I saw her at Rose City Comic Con like 3 years ago, and she had told me, she's like, I got a really good writer for Rye, you know, but she like wouldn't say it, but she was so pumped up and amped for it that like I see why, I see where she was saying, and she was like, the story's gonna be great, you're gonna love it, Rye's coming back, and I was just like, you know, so I want to give hats off and applaud her for that, to let Dan get in there and do his thing, and then just putting the art team together that was there. I know Rip is doing the Bad Idea book coming up soon, Tankers, but hopefully he's still. I would love to see him still be doing this because I feel like he's doing this like this world that we're in great justice. So
he's worked for Valiant for so long too. It would be kind of a shame if he doesn't come back to do some more work.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him finish it. I'm hopeful that if he can't, that whatever they decide to do will be cool, because when I was reading Fallen World, I didn't have any inclination that like there was any problem with that. So if they can go from Polina to Reap and it was cool, I suppose it's possible they could go to somebody else and it'll still be just as cool.
Yeah, I would totally agree. There are a lot of great artists that I think could do a really good job, but or Reap, or bring back Clayton Crane.
yeah, that or Jeff Darrow. I would love that.
We can list artists.
I love that. Yes, and that's who they should get. That's awesome. And then coming back, guys, we have Josh from Sound of Thunder here. He's got a prize package to give away. We just need to make sure if you're on this that you're putting your comment in the comments so we can throw your name in a hat and watch him model the nice Shadow Man mug there.
This is not the prize. You can't have my mug.
Not it.
Don't get it.
It's one of those 100 short boxes behind him.
Yeah. So hopefully people are making their comments in the comment section and are in the live chat and getting their name in.
Yeah, they've got to comment in order to get their name in for the drawing, right? So if anybody's lurking, make a comment.
If you're lurking, put your name in there. I got a couple names in here already. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got about 8 names already here. But yeah, make sure you're doing that. And then I know you guys are all over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, a little bit of everything with A Sound of Thunder.
Yep. Yeah. We're at ASOT Band on Twitter and Instagram. If you just put in A Sound of Thunder on Facebook, we come right up. And we're at www.asoundofthunderband.com. And if you're a cheap bastard, we're on Spotify. You can listen for free. Please don't. Unless you're not going to buy anything anyway, then you can listen for free. I don't care.
But go support. And what do you guys have for like to purchase right now on the website?
Well, we got everything. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary, so we just put out the new album called Parallel Eternity, which comes with a big deluxe comic book sized booklet with the lyrics and photos and everything. But for comics fans, our previous album is called It Was Metal, and that one actually comes with a graphic novel. And we actually poached a bunch of talent from Valiant that we met through Tales from the Dead Side to work on our own graphic novel. So that's an album of 10 songs, and then the graphic novel has a short story based on every song. That graphic novel's got Bob Hall, Ben Templesmith, Rafer Roberts. Oh, I'm going to forget people. Barry Kitson. Apologies to the people I'm forgetting. But yeah, a bunch of great people on the book. So if you're into music and comics, the It Was Metal graphic novel might be cool for you.
That's awesome.
Foreshadowing for the next ASOT and Valiant collab. It will be something similar to what we did with Rye, I believe.
Ooh.
Yes, may already be in the works.
I love it.
Promising.
Yes, may have to do with Iron Maiden again as well in some respect.
And everyone's very surprised.
Look, I mean, we all like series of things. When you have something cool, you want to keep the series going. So there may be another entry in a series.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Very awesome.
I think we'll all be for that. And then we need to figure out a way to get a Sound of Thunder song into the Shadow Man remastered video game. I think that would just be fantastic to have something of that album.
I'm actually in touch with them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Russ put us in touch. So it's possible. It's possible.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
As well as the new Shadow Man game.
Yes, that they are doing. I think they said there's about 4 different games in the works, and they recently, that's some of the news that happened with Valiant, is that they re-signed the I believe it's the Blowfish game, or one of the game companies got re-signed for an extension. So there's some things coming in the works.
Yep, I've seen a demo reel. It looks really super cool.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that's sooner rather than later, and the sooner the better.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the horizon is on it, but it is VEI Shadow Man.
Oh, that's gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
I think we'll score for that. All right. Well, everybody, last chance to get your name in there, and we can go from there. And I am going to grab a hat and throw it in. And I'll throw it on the fedora. Got a hat. You know you like it, Josh. All right. If everybody in, last chance, here we go. Okay. Who's going to say to stop?
And Josh should.
Stop.
Okay. Oh, somebody's getting a Handy Homebrew wins. Handy Homebrew. Go ahead and give us the message on Handy Homebrew. I hope he's still here. I know he was in the chat earlier. But we'll reach out to Handy Homebrew that just won, and we'll make sure that you're either messaging me or and we'll get that done. I'll reach out to you, and we'll get the address out, get you your Rye variants from A Sound of Thunder. So congratulations. I'm not sure who that is. There he is. Good, he made it. So appreciate you coming in here. So congratulations.
Is Handy Homebrew known to us?
He's been in here before. We had the Handy once before, and nobody complained.
I've had a few.
But we're hoping that he gets in here. So, Handy Homebrew. I'm not sure the name of Handy Homebrew. I know we got some other ones that have been some fans for a long time, and we appreciate Handy coming in.
Cool to see new names. I'm used to knowing everybody's name.
Yeah.
We get to more cons next year and meet the rest of these people.
Oh man, I can't wait for cons. So
I know I'm so missing conventions right now.
You're over on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, Virginia.
So what cons do you frequent?
Baltimore every year is Baltimore Comic Con is my religion. I love that con, and I go to hunt back issues. That's a great back issue con. And then Awesome Con. It's a little more of a pop culture con, so I'm not as into it. And usually Heroes Con.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Heroes Con, Baltimore Con. You have to make your way out here one time for Emerald City. We're trying to get Josh to come up from the Twin Cities to come this direction. Eric. Well, Josh comes from the Salt Lake City, the other city.
The one other one. Yeah, no, we all got to meet up out there at some point. Let's do it.
Baltimore,
and I do want to go to
Baltimore's
Baltimore.
a killer con. Yeah. I mean, for comic lovers, it's not the best for people that want to go get things signed by movie stars, which I'm fine with, but it's great for comics fans.
Well, that's why I've always liked going up to Emerald City. Emerald City seems like a really good comic book fan convention.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and I think
I get real
more
snobby.
probably is too, because I mean, you got it used to be the Harveys, the Ringos, right now.
Well, yeah, because
Um,
also Diamond's based in Baltimore. Yeah. But it's a great conference, and I get real snobby. I hate those movie people. I'm like, that person probably doesn't even own a single long box. Get out of here. Movie scum.
Just because you dressed up as Deadpool doesn't mean you know comic books.
Exactly. I'm such a gatekeeper.
Yep.
Terrible.
We actually had Todd Lewis come out to Emerald City this year, and then it happened. Everything happened to happen, but at least we got to go to the media viewing of Bloodshot in theaters just days before that closed.
Oh, I heard. Yeah. So the con didn't actually happen, right?
Yeah, the con didn't actually happen, but the viewing happened, which was fun. But it was sad that the con didn't happen there, and and then
vacation. I had been waiting for a very long time to go on that vacation, and then everything got canceled. And I was just like, well, that sucks. So,
is this a good time saying? Is this a good time to say don't do hotels.com? Or
don't do hotels.com or stay at the West End. If you want to throw a brick through a window, I'm not saying you shouldn't.
Yeah. They just didn't want to refund it. It was kind of sad, so they pointed the finger at each other. So don't go with those guys if you guys are booking. So, dude, but this has been fun, man. We got exciting of Rye coming back, and and then a Sound of Thunder, and congratulations to Handy, and congratulations on 10 years with the Sound of Thunder, and that's awesome.
Thanks, man. It went by in a flash. We've been with Valiant most of it. I mean, it was 2013 when we started talking to him about doing the Shadow Man album. So it's been a good relationship, and really a dream come true to get to mix up metal and comics in my life. It's been very cool.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Gotta love when your passions can collide.
Yep. Totally.
That's it. Well, what do we got coming out next, guys? What's the next Valiant book? Do you guys got an idea? I know it's Exo Manowar number 3, I believe.
Is it the week of or week after Christmas?
Let's take a look.
Exo
I think
Manowar number 3 teaser in the back of this issue. The art for that book looks so good. So good. Even after reading an issue of Juan Jose Roop's art, I see that Exo Manowar art, and I'm just, it's so good.
he can do pretty well, and it does look like it is December 23rd. Exo Manowar number 3 will be there. I believe that's a week from today. So there's that, and Dr. Tomorrow Trades coming out that day as well, and then from there we're gonna have January is a week of 2 books, but it's the very last week of January. Bloodshot 10's back, and Exo number 4's coming out. So 2 books. There's a bunch of collections coming out earlier in the month. The Bloodshot, the Psylords, Harbinger, Wars 2 Deluxe, Rye Book 2, and then the last week of January. 2 books in 1 week, that's going to be like Christmas all over again in January.
How are we going to even handle it?
You're going to have a long podcast.
It's going to be a longer one. Yep. We'll have to be a little quicker. Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for watching, for listening. Thank you so much, Josh, for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. This was a blast. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and next time you guys have, next time you guys have an album coming out or something, we'll have to chat again, or if the right comic book comes out and we all want to talk about it, we definitely can make it happen again. But yeah, I want to say thanks to everybody. And that's been in the chat and listening. Congratulations to Handy, and we'll see you guys all next time.
Cheers, guys.
That's right, everybody. Make sure you subscribe. Get more of this coming. See you guys later.
Bye.